I'm Amy Shrader with Remax Real Estate 10 as part of our Give Where You Live initiative for 2024. I am here with M.A.T.S Executive Director, Tonya Polidoro, and she is going to share with us a little bit about what it is that M.A.T.S provides here in our community.
Right. So M.A.T.S is a self-sufficiency program for those who are experiencing homelessness. And we serve men, women, and children here in the shelter. So when they come in, our intake process is about 90 minutes to 2 hours long, because we're getting all the good information on, hey, what's been going on in your life, what are the barriers to success you're facing, what has kept you in homelessness, what even started the homelessness. Sometimes they don't even realize their patterns until they get in here, and then we start seeing some things. But on the front side, we want to build a plan with them. We do budgeting with them to find out, hey, what's it going to take every month for you to be sustainable? So every 30 days, what's that got to look like, so that we're not saying to them, hey, you've got to have a job. You've got to have sustainable income. So whatever that looks like for each individual, so that they're armed with what it is they know that they need. Most of the time, they haven't even put numbers to paper, which is quite interesting to me. I think that they just have this thought that if I get a full-time job at whatever the rate per hour is, things will be okay. And I think oftentimes they find out it's just not. And I think it's actually surprising to them. When they first come in, they're a little bit nervous. They don't know what to expect. They think we're the typical homeless shelter, and then they're a little antsy, especially parents of children. They're they don't know what to, and it takes a couple of days to come in and then get acclimated, and then all of a sudden they're like, I'm so glad that we're here, But the gist of it basically is people are different, and they have different things going on with their life. So that's why it's an individualized plan. We've got to take what your situation is and help you overcome some of those barriers. We help people get their Social Security card, their birth certificates, their ID, all the documents that they are needing. And sometimes those documents, birth certificates are in Kentucky, Georgia. So that client has to wait on that to come in before they can even get an ID. Can't even get a job without an ID. So those are just some of those barriers that they don't have an address. So we work with that. We start budget coaching with them. We don't want to just put things on paper for them. It's their life. So they need to learn how to do that for themselves. Some come in, we teach them life skills. We have a lot that are coming in aging out of the foster care system. They're 18. They don't have a clue about anything. They need to be taught how to do their laundry, how to cook, how to clean. Don't know anything about getting a job. If they're still in high school, we let them complete that because education is important. They've got to have that. Even if you go back for your GED, it's not the same. You'll never get that opportunity back. So we've got to let them finish high school. We'll require them to get a part-time job. But it's not really anything that's sustaining them. It's just we're making that soft introductory into what's to come. Right, what's to come. To me, homelessness it's just a byproduct of something deeper, some root causes. So my thing is, any of us can experience this. Mm-hmm. And we can have people give us food, clothing, maybe temporary, nightly shelter or whatever. But at the end of the day, if we're not coming down to if we don't have somebody to come alongside of us and help us figure out the root causes and to fix that, this doesn't get better. This is just what we're doing is putting a Band-Aid on it. So what M.A.T.S does is we come down here. We're going to provide this, but we're coming straight down here. And clients have got to be willing and ready to say, here I am. Let's do this together. Because we're not going to go, run alongside them for the rest of their lives. So they got to be open and willing to say, hey, teach me, you know.
They got to want to change their life.
They got to want it. And if they want it, it's going to work for them 100% of the time. At the end of 2019, M.A.T.S was at a 20% success rate. What is success to M.A.T.S? Well, success means that our clients have left M.A.T.S with sustainable income into permanent housing, and they've not needed repeat services for at least up to a year. That's huge. That's a huge feat. We have really continuously revamped, changing things. I think you can't, just as any business, you kind of got to move with what's going on, and you've got to be willing to make some changes. And so today we're in the 60s, the 60%.
Awesome.
So I feel like that's a huge leap. And I think it's in part because we take the time to help them resolve the root. Because if you resolve that, this ends up taking care of itself.
Mm-hmm.
The homelessness up here, it will take care of itself.
I was a single mom, raising a kid.
I was too.
I was paycheck to paycheck. And I knew if it hadn't been for my parents a couple of times, we probably would have been homeless somewhere
That right
along
there
the
is
way.
key. That's key, Amy. If it hadn't been, you had a support system.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody has a support system.
Right.
And then I started putting some things together. And to be honest, the drugs and alcohol was about 16%,
Mm-hmm.
while mental health is in the 50s, and it's just climbing. It's just climbing. So think about mental health. If they are not stabilized mentally, how are they going to hold a job down?
Exactly.
And I think it's important for people to understand that the cost of living right now is outrageous. And because when they come in, if I take it back to when they first come in, and I said, we're going to do that budget with them, we're going to do a mock budget, that negative, we know they're going to be in a negative, that tells that person, this is the minimum that I've got to have to live. This is just, I'm just barely making it here. I'm going to be able to pay these bills.
So I know that you all also do the warming station.
We do.
Explain that for everybody.
So the warming station right now is being operated in our dining room. So we open it up when the temps are 32 and below. And we've got like for a regular dining room type, we've got those cafeteria styles that you see, they pull up. Our dining room's small, so when they pull up, there's no room. So we don't have room to have them lay down and stuff, but they get to come in, they're warm. Our community, we ask them to bring soups and just things like that. I'm sure you guys have seen on our Facebook. So that's that for now. Our future goal in it is that we have just recently purchased the property next door for some growth, and we are really, what our vision for that is to have another facility unrelated to this program for a day center / warming station. So basically it would be a year round. The day center, like, your spring, summer, and fall, they wouldn't be staying there overnight. It would just be open. They have a place to come and shower, wash their clothing, have charging stations available, have some computers available to be able to get online and try to find a job and stuff like that. The warming center then, or shelter, if once that is done, would look a lot like, hey, now we're going to have 20 cots, 20 bunks. Unfortunately, it takes money to do that with.
Well, and unfortunately, you're also confined by the current space that you have.
Yes, I am limited by my space, given that I'm a facility that has children in here. It's a whole different ball game. Okay, I've got to, I've already lowered barriers. Even just, I think since I've talked to you last, we've lowered barriers. Used to, you had to pass a drug screen when you come in. Well, now, if you can come in initially failing for, THC, BZO, which is your Xanax or Valium, barbiturates, basically those low-lying, hey, just a chill drug, because what is the goal? The goal that I'm aiming toward is I don't want the children harmed or distressed. So they can come in initially failing for that. It's just that we're going to pull up and do a random, and you need to pass that random.
Right.
Why do you need to pass that random? Because we need to be good stewards with our funding. You can't hold down a job when you're continuing, or if you do get a job, we don't want you here wasting your money on drugs. And I know that our community wouldn't want that. You're here, our community's supporting us so that you can build a different, better life for yourself. The mental illness, I've lowered the barrier on that. It used to be that if you had anything beyond depression or anxiety, you needed to be stabilized on meds for 30 days. Well, so now if they've got bipolar without aggressive tendencies, come on in. You just got to be willing to go get that help. We're going to work with you to do that. There's so many out there that do want our help. And so we, as M.A.T.S, we realize that we can't help everyone. Obviously, this, just like for, this agency, we serve children. We can't help sex offenders. Does that mean that they don't deserve, or that we don't want them, housed or whatnot? No, doesn't mean that at all. Because our goal is we don't want to see them homeless again.
Right, obviously.
It breaks my heart if I see a repeat. I'll go down there and be like, what are you doing back here?
So, what is your primary source of funding?
Grants. We are heavily funded by grants.
I'm sure you do get private donations.
We do.
Church-funded donations, whatever.
We're about 3% funded by churches. I wish it was more, and I really want, because five churches fund. 5 churches started M.A.T.S. That's how it was started, and it was 100% funded by those 5 churches, and then obviously I'm sure individuals in the community, but we desperately have to depend on our community. We definitely get our funding from individuals, businesses, churches, grants, City of Morristown. It's just that it's the bigger slice is from grants.
So what kind of fundraising events do you all do throughout the year?
So the fundraising we've got coming up, we've added one. It's called Bull Mania. It's coming out at Water State. So we'll have that in March. April's our 5K. And then June is our Family Fun Day, which you always sponsor, and we're so grateful for. And then we have the concert in August, and then we have our turkey smoking in November. And so we really appreciate everybody who sponsors those, who comes out and buys a turkey and a ham, buys a concert ticket, buys Family Fun Day ticket. So we appreciate that. Okay. And we're grateful. And thank you so much for making us, one of the agencies. We really appreciate that. I feel humbled by that. I appreciate your support throughout the year. I appreciate you always sponsoring our Family Fun Day. It's nice to have people who care about the work that we're trying to do in our community. Because we live here, it's our home. So, and I need volunteers, we need them. I need somebody that wants to come sit and answer the phone, answer the door and accept those donations, put those donations up, hand those donations out. By all means, definitely.
Now, I know that you have a website, and I know you have a Facebook page. Explain to everybody about your Amazon list.
Yes, we do have an Amazon wish list. Definitely. So you can go on our Amazon wish list. We do try to put that link out, but a lot of times we will have stuff on there that's needed all the time. So basically, if you say, well, what is it that you do need? Well, what do you need in your own? What do you need for yourself? You need a brush to brush your hair. We need lots of those, you know what I mean? We need lots of shampoo and conditioner and bleach. Really, one of our major things right now that we're really having a hard time keeping is 55-gallon trash bags. We need those. A lot of them.
All right, so is there anything else about M.A.T.S that you want to share with the community?
Well, I want to just let everybody know in the community that if you have questions, if you've just heard about M.A.T.S, but you haven't heard it from us, come and ask your questions. And I'm an open book. I believe in transparency. I believe transparency is what builds trust. Because sometimes it's hard to convey that. It's hard to tell you. I mean, we are just jumping through hoops all the time. We're just, head down, and we're just doing the things. And sometimes it's we've started putting our success stories out there.
Yeah, I've noticed that lately.
Yeah.
And it's like every other month it seems you've
Yeah.
got a resident who is graduating from the program,
I've
so
got
to speak,
two
and get
that's
keys. And
Yes,
that's amazing.
I've got two right now that they're just days to weeks. They're there, and super excited. We're the ones that get to see that change take place in them. They come in, they're beaten down. They're like, whether they've been told you're never going to amount to anything, you can't do this, you can't whatever, but just the boundaries we have set in place, a structure that's there, it gets them to a certain place. They're just doing it, maybe perhaps because they just have to or whatever. But there comes a point where the light bulb comes on, and it's like, oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I've never had this much money saved up before. And then you start seeing their excitement, and then you start seeing that confidence.
All right, so what is your website?
M.A.T.S, TN for Tennessee.com.
Okay.
So go there. You can find out information, how to donate. Usually, what events are happening at that moment in time. Facebook's really where we put out like our wish list or our needs list. So Facebook's really where we interact the most.
Okay.
The most up to date, and try to get those stories out to everybody. And
all right. Good deal.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for taking time out to talk with us today.
Yes.